Racism has always been a big problem in football. It has only just very recently started to become better. However, currently players are still receiving racist messages on social media and get abuse on the pitch from the fans or maybe even an opposing player. This happens quite frequently when it shouldn't happen at all. In recent times, punishments have become stricter, and this is why racism has slowly become less prominent in the game. Historically, it was normal for a black player to get treated badly at the club and by the fans, and the players would just have to deal with it. In the 1970s and the 1980s, racism was a huge problem. Professional black players faced mass racist chanting from large sections of the crowd, and banana skins were often thrown on the pitch. In the 1970s, there were very few black or ethnic minority players, referees, coaches, or bosses in positions of power in the FA. Even today in the Premier League, there are 20 teams and all the managers are white. This shows that football can still be deemed as being a racially split sport, even though there are a lot of black or diverse players now. Racism used to be so bad in football that black people or people of mixed race were not allowed to play the sport for their local club, and from a young age they would not be allowed to play, and therefore they would not be very good as an adult. A lot of players that did get the chance to play were often given so much abuse by the fans they would often quit as they couldn't handle it. The reason that there was racism is because spectators found it entertaining to racially discriminate players, and in recent cases like England's game against Bulgaria the other week, the Bulgarian fans clearly do still find it amusing to make racist chants. This angered a lot of the England team, and the game was very close to being called off. Racism has always been a thing ever since the slave trade, and since then people of colour have slowly been getting equal rights, and racism is finally decreasing in general. However, it's still a very large problem. Because of all the racism in football, it brings down the sport a lot, as people don't want to play because they feel humiliated playing, and this is at a youth level. But there was even an incident when Samuel Eto'o walked off the pitch due to racist abuse from his own fans, and he refused to play. Racism isn't just the fans, however. Players have often been racist to opposing players. An example of this is when Luis Suarez refused to shake Patrice Evra's hand for the reason that he was black. This gives a negative influence on the youth players, as they might believe it's alright to do this too. Nowadays, if a player is racist, they will get a very lengthy ban and maybe risk a lifetime ban, and they will also receive a very large fine that they will need to pay. This has been put in place to try combat racism in the sport, as players and fans will not risk being abusive verbally, knowing what they will receive if they choose to do so. Because of racism in the sport, there have been setups put in place to try combat it. One of these is the Say No to Racism. This has been put in place to make everyone aware of the racism that is happening in football, and players will often wear armbands supporting this. This gives football a positive nature, as young people looking up to their idol who is wearing a Say No to Racism armband will want to be like them. This has clearly helped the racism level in football, as it was much worse 10 to 20 years ago than it is now. In the future, I believe that any racist abuse should lead to a lifetime ban, whether it was a player or whether it was a spectator. This will ensure that people will not be racist at games anymore. I also think that they should keep a profile on spectators who have been known for being racist in the past so they can watch them closely and ensure that they are behaving at games. Overall, I believe that there will always be racists playing and spectating the game. However, I believe that racist abuse will one day become eradicated. This is because I believe that the rules will become much stricter and punishments will become harsher.